Let me tell you something you probably already know deep down. Everything you need to succeed is already within you. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is you. Not the economy, not the people around you, not even the circumstances you've faced in the past. It's you. You are the greatest asset in your life. If you want your world to change, you need to focus on your own growth first. Focus on you and watch everything fall into place. Listen, you can't keep putting your future in someone else's hands. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to live your best life. The best investment you will ever make is in yourself. Your mind, your character, your health, your skills. No job, no amount of money, no relationship can give you the level of success that personal growth can. You are the asset. The more you grow, the more your potential grows. Now, don't get it twisted. It's not enough to just work on yourself. You've got to focus. And I don't mean focus on everything around you. I mean focus on the one thing that will change everything, you. I'm talking about real inner work. Your results in life will never surpass the person you are inside. If you want to see the outer world transform, you've got to start by transforming the inner world. When you focus on developing yourself, clarity will come. You'll stop doubting your decisions and second-guessing your direction. You will begin to walk with confidence, knowing that your path is aligned with your purpose. But here's the kicker. Confidence is not born from the world outside. It's born from the work you do on yourself inside. The more you invest in your self-development, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the clearer your vision. The clearer your vision, the more unstoppable you become. And this is where the real magic happens. As you grow, you'll notice something profound. The people you surround yourself with will begin to change. Your circle will either rise with you or fall off. As you step into your purpose, those who can't align with that energy will fall away. And that's okay. Don't cry over the people who leave your life when you start winning. Celebrate it. It's a sign that your growth is real. The higher you go, the less room there is for people who are content staying the same. But it doesn't just stop with growth and vision. You've got to get disciplined. Discipline is the shortcut to success. Time isn't the problem. It's how you use the time you have. The most successful people in the world don't have more hours in the day. They have more focus. They have a level of discipline that makes time work for them. You can't keep saying, I don't have time. You have time. You've just got to stop wasting it on distractions that don't align with your vision. Focus your time, focus your energy, and watch how everything starts falling into place. And let me tell you this, God won't do for you what you refuse to do for yourself. I've seen it over and over again. People praying for success, praying for breakthroughs, praying for miracles, but they haven't moved a single inch toward the life they're praying for. Favor follows action. If you want things to change, you need to move. When you move, that's when the miracles show up. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone else's approval. Stop waiting for the right circumstances. Move first and watch everything else follow. So here's the bottom line. If you want your life to change, it starts with you. Focus on your growth. Focus on your discipline. Focus on your vision. Don't let the world distract you. Your success is waiting, but it won't show up until you decide to show up for yourself first. You have the power. You are the asset. And when you focus on you, everything will fall into place. You know, I want to start by telling you something that might be hard to hear, but it's the truth. You are the asset, not the job you have, not the house you live in, not even the money in your bank account. You are the asset. The most valuable thing you have in your life is you, your mind, your character, your potential. Everything else in your life is secondary. The moment you truly understand that you are the asset, everything changes. We often get caught up in believing that our success is tied to external things. We think that if we just had a better job, a bigger house, a stronger network, or more money, everything would be different. But that's not the case. The truth is, everything you need to achieve success already exists inside of you. The job, the money, the connections, they're all byproducts of you becoming the person who can attract and handle them. But it all starts with recognizing that you are the starting point. You are the one who determines your worth, your value, your potential. You are the one who decides how much you're going to grow. If you want to make an impact, if you want to create wealth, if you want to build something meaningful, it all starts with focusing on you, your mindset, your habits, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's not about waiting for something outside of you to change. It's about looking inward and asking yourself, how am I showing up for my life? Most people want to change the circumstances around them first. They want their problems to go away. They want things to just magically fall into place. But the reality is that your external world will never exceed your internal world. Your life is a reflection of who you are on the inside. If you don't believe in your own potential, if you don't see yourself as the asset, then how can you expect anyone else to see it? If you don't believe you're worthy of success, how can you attract it? It's not about luck. It's about recognizing that you are the key to unlocking your future. And the moment you start to invest in yourself by learning more, improving your skills, mastering your mindset, that's when you begin to see the results you've been waiting for. This isn't just about thinking positively or wishing for the best. It's about taking responsibility for who you are and where you're going. You see, once you realize that you are the asset, you start to treat yourself differently. You begin to treat your time, your energy, your resources with more respect. You stop wasting them on things that don't align with your goals. You stop letting distractions and negativity pull you off course. You start seeing yourself as worthy of the best. And because you see yourself that way, the world starts to see you that way too. But it doesn't end there. Once you realize that you are the asset, the next step is to build the person who is worthy of the opportunities you want to attract. That means getting serious about your growth. That means putting in the work. That means doing the things that are uncomfortable now, knowing they will pay off later. You can't wait for someone else to validate you. You have to validate yourself. When you take ownership of your personal growth, that's when things start to click. The opportunities will show up. The right people will come into your life. The right circumstances will unfold. But it won't happen until you realize that you are the asset. It's not about the world changing around you. It's about you changing the way you approach the world. Your success is waiting for you, but it will never meet you halfway if you don't start investing in yourself. So if you want to achieve anything of significance, if you want to create wealth, if you want to build something lasting, the first thing you need to do is realize that you are the asset and everything you've been looking for is already within you. The question is, are you ready to show up for yourself? Are you ready to start believing in your own potential and investing in your future? Because the moment you do, everything else will begin to fall into place. Let me tell you something that will change everything about how you see success. The inner work you do will directly affect the outer results you experience. You can't expect to achieve extraordinary things in your life if you're not willing to put in the work to transform who you are on the inside first. Too many people focus on the external, the money they want to make, the car they want to drive, the house they want to own, but they skip over the most important part, the internal work. What do I mean by inner work? I mean that if you want to change your outer circumstances, you've got to change who you are at your core. You've got to work on your mindset, your beliefs, your habits, your character. If you're not growing and evolving on the inside, there's no way your life will grow and evolve on the outside. You can't outperform your self-plea. If you believe you're not worthy of success, you will unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. If you don't believe you can have the life you want, you'll never take the actions necessary to make it happen. The most successful people in the world don't get to where they are by focusing on the things outside of them. They get there by focusing on themselves, by working on their inner world. They develop the habits, the mindset, and the beliefs that allow them to receive and manage the success they attract. They understand that everything begins with the person they are becoming. Who you are determines what you attract. Here's the thing, your actions, your choices, and your results are all reflections of how you see yourself. If you're constantly doubting yourself, second-guessing your decisions, or holding on to limiting beliefs, that's exactly what you'll manifest in your life. The universe can only meet you at the level of your belief. But if you choose to believe that you're worthy of success, that you're capable of achieving great things, then your actions will align with that belief, and the world will start to reflect that back to you. This is why it's so important to do the inner work, to develop the mental, emotional, and spiritual strength necessary to handle the challenges that come with success. Success isn't just about money or fame. It's about developing the resilience and the mindset to navigate life's ups and downs. It's about building character, mastering your emotions, and aligning yourself with your true purpose. When you work on yourself, your confidence grows. When you believe in your own value, you stop tolerating things that don't align with your worth. You stop putting up with people or situations that drain your energy or keep you stuck. The more you do the inner work, the more your life begins to reflect that growth. Opportunities will show up, people will begin to treat you differently, and you'll start attracting the success that was always meant for you. But here's the hard truth. It's not always easy. Inner work requires discipline. It requires you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. It requires you to look at your weaknesses and take responsibility for them. You can't just wish for things to get better. You have to do the work. You have to be willing to dig deep and make changes in the way you think, in the way you act, and in the way you show up in the world. When you commit to doing the inner work, you start to see that the outer results are just a byproduct of who you are becoming. As you improve your self-permit, as you strengthen your mindset, and as you take consistent action toward your goals, the life you want will begin to unfold before you. The work you do on yourself today will determine the life you live tomorrow. But let me be clear, inner work isn't just about thinking positive thoughts or hoping for the best. It's about taking responsibility for your growth. It's about investing in yourself, whether that's through learning new skills, improving your emotional intelligence, or developing the discipline to keep going even when it gets tough. Inner work is the foundation upon which everything else is built. If you're not willing to put in the effort to grow on the inside, you'll never see the results you want on the outside. So ask yourself, what inner work am I avoiding? Are you avoiding the tough conversations with yourself that could unlock the next level of your growth? Are you holding on to limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck? Are you waiting for the world to change instead of changing yourself first? Remember, the outer results you desire are not going to show up until you do the work inside. So take responsibility for your growth. Focus on who you're becoming and watch how the results in your life begin to shift. When you change on the inside, everything else will fall into place. Let me tell you something that will radically shift the way you approach life. Clarity creates confidence. You've heard the saying, the more you know, the more confident you become, but let me break it down for you on a deeper level. Clarity is the foundation of confidence. When you have clarity about where you're going, who you are, and what you're capable of, something incredible happens. You begin to walk with a boldness, a sense of direction, and an unwavering belief in yourself and your purpose. Here's the truth. When you're unclear about your vision, your goals, or your direction, doubt creeps in. It doesn't matter how talented or skilled you are, without clarity, you are like a ship lost at sea, drifting wherever the current takes you. You have no anchor, no real purpose, and no clear path forward. And when you're uncertain, it's easy to get distracted, procrastinate, or even give up. You lack the focus necessary to push through challenges because you're not sure why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. But when you get clear on your vision, when you know exactly where you want to go and why you want to get there, everything changes. Clarity pulls you out of confusion and propels you forward. It gives you a roadmap for your actions, and suddenly everything you do feels purposeful. You no longer feel like you're just going through the motions. You have a destination. And that destination is not just something you're hoping will happen someday. It's something you're actively working toward with intention. When you have clarity, it's as if the fog lifts from your life and you can see everything in front of you clearly. You know who you need to become, what actions you need to take, and what obstacles you need to overcome. With that kind of vision, confidence is inevitable. Why? Because when you know where you're going, you walk with the confidence that you're on the right path. You stop second guessing yourself, you stop asking for permission, and you stop worrying about what others think of you. Clarity doesn't just give you confidence in your destination, it also gives you confidence in your ability to get there. When you understand your purpose, when you know why you do what you do, your belief in yourself grows, and this is where it gets powerful. Confidence comes from conviction. When you are clear about your vision, your purpose, and your plan, that conviction drives you to take action, even in the face of uncertainty or fear. You no longer wait for everything to feel perfect. You don't wait for the right time or for external circumstances to line up. You take bold, confident action because you know exactly where you're going. And here's the kicker. The more confident you become, the more clarity you gain. It's a cycle. As you take action toward your goals, you get clearer on what works and what doesn't. The more you put yourself out there, the more you learn and the more clarity you gain. As your confidence grows, you become more decisive, more focused, and more willing to take risks. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. And with every step you take, your clarity sharpens, your purpose strengthens, and your confidence expands. On the flip side, when you lack clarity, the opposite happens. You hesitate, you question yourself, you hold back. Confusion breeds doubt, and doubt paralyzes progress. If you're unsure of your direction, how can you expect to move forward with confidence? But when you know what you want and why you want it, you're unstoppable. You stop caring about the opinions of others, and you stop getting distracted by things that don't align with your vision. You stay focused on your goals, and you take massive action because you have the clarity to do so. Clarity also has a way of eliminating fear. Let's be real. Fear is often the number one thing holding us back. We're afraid of failing, of making mistakes, of not being good enough. But when you have clarity, fear loses its power. Why? Because you know your purpose, you know your mission, and you know that the work you're doing is bigger than any fear that might try to hold you back. When you're clear on your why, the how becomes easier. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are now just stepping stones on your path to success. It's not enough to just want something. You have to know exactly what you want and why you want it. Without clarity, you're just hoping for success. But with clarity, you're preparing for it. You're making intentional decisions every day that align with your vision. You're building confidence because you know where you're going and you know you're capable of getting there. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling unsure of your next move, ask yourself this: do I have clarity on my vision? If not, it's time to get crystal clear. Get clear on who you are, what you want, and why you want it. Once you do that, you'll be amazed at how your confidence skyrockets. Because when you have clarity, the world opens up, and nothing can stop you from moving forward with the boldness and certainty that comes with knowing exactly where you're headed. Let me tell you something that's hard for most people to hear, but it's the truth. The people you surround yourself with are a direct reflection of your own standards. Think about it for a second. If you look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, what does that say about you? What do their lives say about the standards you've set for yourself? You see, we all have this invisible set of standards that guide our decisions, our behavior, and our choices. These standards determine how we show up in the world and how we allow others to treat us. And whether we realize it or not, the people in our circle mirror those standards. The people we choose to associate with are either raising us to a higher level or dragging us down to a lower one. The energy, the mindset, and the success of those around us become a reflection of our own beliefs about what's possible and acceptable in our lives. Let's be real for a minute. You cannot consistently be around people who have low standards and expect to elevate yourself. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are complacent, who settle for mediocrity, who aren't striving for more, then it becomes incredibly difficult to maintain high standards for yourself. The law of association is real. We tend to adapt to the behaviors, attitudes, and mindsets of the people closest to us. So if you're spending your time with people who are comfortable with small thinking, small actions, and small results, guess what? Eventually that becomes your norm too. But it works the other way around too. If you start surrounding yourself with people who have high standards, people who are driven, disciplined, and committed to their growth, something incredible happens. You will rise to meet those standards. You'll start thinking bigger. You'll start taking more focused action. You'll begin to push yourself harder because you see the potential in yourself through the eyes of the people around you. They raise the bar, and in turn, you raise your own standards. This isn't about judgment, it's about being real with yourself. You have to ask yourself, do the people I spend my time with reflect the person I want to become? Because if they don't, you have to be willing to make some tough choices. You cannot afford to keep people in your life just because you've known them for years or because they're comfortable to be around. If you want to grow, you have to surround yourself with people who will challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable to your best self. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life out of spite, but it does mean reevaluating how much time and energy you're investing in relationships that aren't serving your growth. It's about aligning your circle with your vision. When you raise your standards, you raise the quality of people in your life, because people who have high standards won't tolerate low standards. They won't settle for mediocrity. They'll push you to be the best version of yourself, and you'll do the same for them. There's a saying that goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you take a hard look at your circle and they're not where you want to be, or they're not pushing you to get there, then maybe it's time to reassess. This is a real part of personal growth, choosing to elevate your environment. The people you surround yourself with should make you feel inspired, challenged, and motivated to take your life to the next level. And here's the thing. When you start setting higher standards for yourself and raising your expectations of the people around you, you'll start to attract more people who are on that same level. You'll find that your circle begins to change, not because you've cut people out, but because you've evolved into someone who naturally attracts different people. People who are in alignment with where you're headed. People who will pour into you and encourage you to push past your limits. People who will inspire you to become the person you need to be to achieve the success you desire. If you want more success, you need to raise your standards. If you want to build wealth, you need to raise your standards. If you want to improve your health, your mindset, your relationships, you have to raise your standards. And when you do that, the people around you will either rise with you or they'll fall off. It's just how it works. But here's the good news. You get to decide who stays and who goes. So if you're looking for a breakthrough in any area of your life, start by looking at your circle. Look at the people you spend the most time with and ask yourself, do they inspire me to be better? Do they hold me to a higher standard? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. When you raise your standards, everything else will follow. Your results, your growth, and yes, even the people around you will begin to reflect the new level you've reached. Because at the end of the day, your circle mirrors your standards. And if you're ready to level up, it's time to raise the bar in every area of your life, starting with the people you surround yourself with. Let me tell you something that most people won't tell you. Discipline is the shortcut to success. Now, I know it might sound counterintuitive because, let's be honest, in today's world, everyone is looking for the shortcut to success. Whether it's a get-rich-quick scheme, a secret formula, or some magical solution that will make everything fall into place without much effort. But the truth is, the real shortcut isn't a hack or a trick. It's something far simpler and yet far more powerful: discipline. Think about it for a moment. Success doesn't happen overnight. Whether you're trying to build wealth, improve your health, or advance your career, it takes time. The people who make it to the top don't get there because they're lucky or because they have some special privilege. They get there because they're willing to do the work day in and day out when no one is watching. They're willing to stick to their plan even when it feels hard, even when it feels like nothing is happening. They don't take shortcuts by avoiding hard work. They take shortcuts by consistently applying discipline. Discipline is the thing that allows you to push past distractions, temptations, and instant gratification. It's the ability to keep going when motivation fades, when things get tough, and when you're tempted to quit. It's about having the mental toughness to stick to your goals no matter what obstacles come your way. And here's the kicker. When you develop that level of discipline, you start moving faster than everyone else. You might not see immediate results, but over time, that consistency compounds. What others see as a long road to success, you begin to see as a straight path because you're staying the course, while everyone else is distracted by the next shiny object. People often misunderstand what discipline truly is. They think it's about being strict or rigid, about forcing yourself to do things you don't enjoy. But that's not what discipline is. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done consistently, even when you don't feel like it. It's about having the focus and the willpower to prioritize what's important over what's easy. It's about building habits that serve your long-term goals, even if they're uncomfortable in the short term. Because in the end, it's the small, disciplined actions that lead to the big results. And here's something most people don't realize. Discipline actually gives you more freedom. It may seem like discipline takes away your freedom because it forces you to follow a routine, to stay committed to your goals. But the truth is, it creates more freedom in your life. When you're disciplined, you don't waste time. You don't waste energy on distractions. You're not constantly reacting to life's curveballs because you've already planned your time and energy around your priorities. Discipline creates a sense of control. It allows you to make progress every day, no matter how small, and that sense of progress gives you the momentum to keep going. When you're disciplined, your confidence grows. You start to see that you're capable of achieving what you set your mind to. Every time you show up and do the work, you build trust in yourself. You prove to yourself that you are someone who can follow through, who can get things done, who doesn't quit when things get hard. And as that trust in yourself grows, so does your self-esteem and your ability to take on even bigger challenges. The power of discipline also lies in the fact that it removes the need for constant motivation. You don't need to rely on inspiration or a burst of energy to get you through the day because your discipline becomes the driving force behind your actions. Motivation comes and goes, it's fleeting, but discipline is unwavering. It's what gets you out of bed at 5 a.m. to work on your goals when everyone else is still sleeping. It's what keeps you writing, studying, or practicing when you'd rather be doing something easier or more fun. And because you're showing up consistently, the results begin to speak for themselves. Discipline is what allows you to take the long view. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results. But discipline teaches you patience. It teaches you that success doesn't happen overnight and that small, consistent actions compound over time. It's the repeated actions done every single day that lead to the breakthroughs. Every time you show up for yourself, you're one step closer to your goals. You might not notice it in the moment, but when you look back months or years later, you'll see how far you've come because of the discipline you showed up with every single day. And let's not forget, discipline is the key to breaking bad habits and replacing them with good ones. If you're stuck in a cycle of poor habits, whether it's procrastination, unhealthy eating, or negative thinking, discipline is what will help you break free. You start small, you build momentum, and little by little, you create new habits that serve your growth. The more disciplined you become, the more control you gain over your life. So when people ask you what's the secret to success, you can tell them without hesitation, discipline is the shortcut. It's the ability to stay the course when everyone else is looking for an easy way out. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And knowing that the small actions you take every day are what will ultimately lead to massive results. Discipline isn't about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about showing up day after day with consistency, focus, and determination. And when you do that, the results will come faster than you ever thought possible. Let me tell you something that's often overlooked in the pursuit of success, growth, and fulfillment. God won't do what you refuse to do. Now, this isn't about questioning God's power or sovereignty. It's about understanding the divine partnership that exists between you and the higher purpose you've been called to fulfill. We often ask for things, we pray for things, we hope for things, but many times we fail to recognize that there's work we must do to God has already equipped you with everything you need to succeed. He's given you the abilities, the talents, the vision, and the opportunities. But here's the thing. God doesn't just give you success on a silver platter. He gives you the tools, the resources, and the opportunities, but it's up to you to use them. If you refuse to put in the effort, to take action, or to make the necessary decisions, then you're essentially leaving God no space to move in your life. People often wait for a miracle, for some sudden intervention to change their situation. They pray for breakthroughs, for doors to open, for things to get better. And yes, God is always willing to help, always there to guide and support you. But divine help often comes after you've taken the first step, after you've done what you can do. You can't sit back and expect God to do everything for you, because God works through you, not instead of you. You have a role to play in the fulfillment of your destiny. Let's take a look at the way you approach challenges. When things get tough, when life gets hard, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or discouraged. You might want to throw in the towel, give up, or just wait for a miracle to happen. But if you refuse to show up, refuse to keep moving forward, refuse to take that first step, you're closing the door on the possibilities that God is waiting to bless you with. You have to be an active participant in the process. You can't expect to receive a harvest if you don't plant the seeds, if you don't put in the work, if you don't take action. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about doing everything on your own without any faith. What I'm saying is that faith without works is dead. The Bible says that God will never leave you nor forsake you, but he also expects you to show up. If you want success in your life, you have to demonstrate that you're willing to do the work that's required to get there. God will not give you a harvest if you refuse to plant. And he will not give you blessings if you refuse to take responsibility for your life. Too many people sit back passively waiting for things to fall into their lap, but that's not how things work. God won't do what you refuse to do because he has already given you everything you need. The key is stepping out in faith, trusting that your actions will align with the plan he has for you. You don't have to know every step of the journey, but you do need to take action. Take that first step. Set the plan in motion and trust that God will meet you halfway. And here's the thing, when you take action, when you step out of your comfort zone, you give God something to work with. You might not see the whole picture right now, but every action you take is a piece of the puzzle, and God will bless that action. He will bless your faith and your willingness to do what needs to be done, even if the outcome isn't immediately clear. Look at the story of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea. God didn't just part the waters while they were still standing on the shore. He told them to move forward, to take a step into the water, and only then did the waters part. God waited for them to make the move. They had to take that first step, even when the situation seemed impossible. And once they acted in faith, that's when God made the way for them. The miracle came after the obedience, after they made the decision to move forward. This is how it works in your life as well. God will not do what you refuse to do because he has already set things in motion. He's already created the path. He's already made the resources available, but you have to take the first step. You have to move in the direction of your goals, trusting that God will meet you where you are and guide you from there. So what's holding you back? Are you waiting for God to do something that you're refusing to do? Are you praying for a breakthrough but unwilling to take the necessary action? Are you sitting on the sidelines of your own life